Thank you. Thank you.
Mark,
How are you? I didn't get as warm a welcome there, Pedro. As Arik.
you are you are well. But I saw you. I saw you just a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
Arik is now here from 2 years ago.
All good.
Go ahead.
So, guys, thank you very much for everybody joining us. Really excited that we have Arik on and taking some of his time. He's now currently at pre-season camp. For you guys, obviously, we announced on the website that Arik was drafted by Montreal. Really, the joys of professional soccer or professional sports. He's had a pivot and he's actually been traded to the Colorado Rapids, which is I don't know if it is closer to home or not, Arik.
It's a bit. It's I wouldn't say closer, but it's not really much farther. It's kind of the same.
So, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. We've got a few questions here for Arik, kind of based around about his career to date, and then if you guys have any questions, Pedro or anybody, just please feel free to put them in the chat. So, Arik, I'd like to take you back just to your kind of youth soccer. So, if you want to just explain a little bit about that and how you kind of came to develop.
Yeah, sure. Started playing super young when I was 3 years old. My parents or my dad played football, so first thing he did was put me in football, and then I just grew up in the Atlanta area playing, of course, rec, and then progressed into academy. I played for a club called Concord Fire, and I spent most of my youth career there throughout high school and everything. Played different levels from DA to ECNL, and then yeah, that led me to college.
Were you always a forward, Arik? Were you always
No, actually, I started out as a forward, and then in I would say middle school, high school, I was much more of a midfielder. I played six a bit. I played 8, 10, everywhere in midfield really. And then when I got to college, I switched to center forward, or at least sometimes I played forward in club, and college coaches had seen me at forward and midfield, and some liked me in midfield, some liked me forward. So yeah, I was just different positions throughout my career.
did you just in terms of your own development, do you think like moving around positions as a youth player helped?
Absolutely. I mean, my game developed in different ways. In midfield, I gained a lot more tactical awareness, became technically better, became a better passer, all of that. And as a forward, I was, I gained the instinct of scoring goals, running in behind, and, being physical. So I think playing different positions definitely allowed my game to develop as a whole.
Brilliant. So, and then obviously, I want to say it was like 2020 that you joined IDA Spain. Would that be about right?
Yeah, I think it was 2021, like January 2021.
So January 2021. So why did you make that move? So obviously you played your youth soccer in around Atlanta, and then you went to college initially.
Yeah, actually, I played 1 year in Division Three, and then I had a really good year there. We went to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament, and then I was looking to transfer D1, and then COVID hit, of course, and kind of blew up those plans. And I was really just looking for somewhere to play because the season had been canceled. And then I stumbled upon IDA and did some research about the program and everything in it, and it seemed like a great fit, great experience for me. So that's why I decided to go to IDA.
Brilliant. So obviously in 2021 you come to Spain, and then do you want to maybe give the guys some insight? So how was that experience? Coming over, obviously maybe a different style of play, different language, different culture. So
Yeah.
how was that for you?
Um, I think for anyone, it would be tough. There's a lot of change, but I just tried to really embrace it and immerse myself in everything about it, and the culture and the football and learning different style of play, new language, all of that. I think that was the key to being, relatively successful in my time there, was just embracing all of nuances and just trying to enjoy my time there really and focus on developing. So I think it was a really, really good experience, especially the first 6 months.
So because I obviously remember coming over, wow, my dates aren't great, probably 2022, and you were actually training at Levi, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I signed with Levi during my first few months there, so maybe March of 2021, and then yeah, I was training with the first team at Levi, and then they ended up signing me. I played there for maybe a year or so. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. My time there was, you know, I was able to live in Levi for a little bit as well, and really be part of the community. So it was a really, really good experience.
What was the difference? So obviously, when you came to Spain, in the IDA program, obviously there's additional training, there's sports science, obviously there's how did some of that stuff really help you?
It helped a ton. I think just being in an environment where you're able to really focus on football and be fully surrounded by a coaching staff that is focused on your development and really supports you and pushes you every day, and you're in an environment where everyone around you is focused on football and trying to do the same thing as you, which is get better. So I think that's why IDA was the most helpful environment.
And then obviously with the challenge of some of our guys, the program's changed slightly since you were there. So obviously we have a little bit more club involvement. We have club partners at Quart. So the pathway isn't as broad as maybe when you were there. But what was some of the guys are going and they're playing in the for Quart, they're playing in some of the Spanish youth leagues. When you went to Levi, what were some of the different challenges that you encountered there that was maybe different than playing in the US? So obviously you went into men's football, which would have been challenging. How was your Spanish when you joined there?
It was okay. Like I knew some basic phrases. It wasn't great, but I think if you kind of just force yourself to try, that's the best thing. And at the end of the day, like football is a universal language. So if you can do as much talking as you can on the pitch, you'll find yourself in a much more comfortable situation.
And then what about the play? So obviously, as a forward, maybe different. Was it obviously playing in adult football? I'm assuming that's the first time that you stepped out of same age football, or kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
how was that a challenge?
oh, it was definitely a big challenge. You go from playing against guys your age or younger, maybe a year or two older, and in college, and to playing men's football, where 1 week you might come up against a 30-year-old center back who's seen it all and knows how to you know bother you, put you off your game, and do all the things that you're not really used to. So that was definitely a big adjustment. Every game, I just tried to take it game by game, learn every week. Every week is presented a new challenge. I also was playing not necessarily as a true nine at Levi. At first, I was playing more of a false nine role, so that was something I was learning as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of new challenges and new experiences, especially football wise. You learn a lot tactically and the Spanish philosophy. So yeah.
I think that's interesting. Like going and playing as a false nine, given some of your youth experiences as playing maybe in midfield. It's funny how things actually come around, and it probably
Yeah.
helps a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously, being even speaking about playing as a youth player as a number six, just the perception and some of the qualities in that, and then you end up playing as a false nine, which is, not necessarily right up against the back line, slightly deeper, where
Yeah.
some of those transferable qualities can really come through, which I think, really shine through. So, no, that's pretty cool. And then obviously through your time at IDA, you get the opportunity to go back into, I guess, Division One, which was the aim. Can you explain a little bit about how that came about and maybe
Yeah, sure.
some of the things that
Um,
maybe IDA helped or your experience in Spain helped with?
um, So I was playing at the time with Sia in Tercera, and um, yeah, it was just in season Tercera. We were playing at Villarreal against Villarreal B or C, I can't remember, in Tercera, and there was actually a few guys from college at the game and things like that. So they watched me play. I had a really good game against Villarreal, and then ended up getting some interest from that. And I wasn't even sold on 100% going back to the US, to be honest. I was, just in Spain playing. And then when it came about, I thought about it and had the opportunity to finish my degree as well. And I said I thought it would be a good step for me. I felt like I could go back to college and really be a top player and try to get drafted and finish my degree as well. And luckily, I went back and was able to do both of those things. So I think it was a good decision in the end.
Yeah, no, that's a great decision. And again, the piece that it played, and obviously going back playing Division One college, how was that different? What did you take many things that you learned from Spain and your youth
Yeah.
career into that?
Yeah, it was actually really different. The first season, when I went back, was tough. It was a very different style of play. I mean, there's a whole host of differences. It's not just that the style of play. You're also dealing with being a college student as well. I ended up going to Berkeley, which is also a very tough institution. So I was dealing with trying to balance class and school with playing. But in terms of football, it was definitely an adjustment. I had to learn a new team, new style of play, and then on top of that, the play of college is much different from Spain. It's a lot more direct, a lot more fitness based. So that was an adjustment. I took my first year as an adjustment year, really, and then really found my feet after my first fall and started to really really play well in the spring and leading into the summer. I played really well in the summer, um, and then yeah, I ended up having a really good fall this year, especially with this change of Cal, my school. We moved to the ACC, which is the top conference in college soccer, and yeah, that was a great experience.
So that's interesting as well, Arik, because we always talk about player challenge being a key pillar, and I think not just your adaptation, but then your adaptation and then moving conference. That kind of adds to it a little bit more. Which is interesting. It's not only you adapt into Division One college, you have a year, and then you have to adapt almost again because you're
Yeah,
changing conference, etc. So again, that flexibility, and even throughout your career, I would say that would be one of the things that you've overcome time and time again is just variety. Do you know what I mean? The ability to adapt, and I think that for me that would be a key kind of success would just be the way that you've managed to adapt, whether it be in Division Three into Spain, couple opportunities in Spain, difference, and then obviously going back to the US, and then just you know once you've done that, what was the decision? Obviously, you spoke there about your ambitions of being drafted. How did that come about? For some of the guys here that dream of following that path, because that's obviously not linear from youth soccer into college into the pros. You've kind of came to Spain, done a different experience, then went back and jumped up a couple of levels. What
yeah,
was how does the decision of being drafted come about, and can you explain a little bit about the process?
sure, yeah. Obviously, there's somebody's always watching. So there's scouts that watch college games all year. Every club has a head scout and multiple scouts that they send out to games or they watch online or however it may be. So I remember my first kind of thought about it was, mid-season. I had a really good game against Louisville, and then Monday my coach was telling me that he'd gotten multiple calls from the MLS from MLS teams. So that was when I really started to think, okay, this could be a possibility. If I stay consistent and play well, then there's a chance there. And then it continued to play well through the end of the season, and And then I started to get interest from lots of different agents, started to reach out and express their interest and express their, their thought that I could be successful at the next level. And so when that started to really pick up steam, I was thinking, okay, there's a good chance I could get drafted. And then I began to get invitations to different combines, San Jose Earthquakes combine, some others, Seattle, I think. So it was stuff really starts to pick up traction, and then draft day comes, and you just hope to hear your name called.
So in terms of those combines, Arik, so obviously, they're invite only. What are they like? Like, because obviously it's a bunch of guys, you're all coming in, everybody's really in it for themselves,
Yeah,
really, but it's also you kind of need to show up well, so you need to combine with teammates and stuff.
yeah.
How did those experiences, how were they and how did you find them?
To be honest, I hated the combines. I mean, it's really awkward environment because you got maybe 30, 40 guys just put into teams randomly. You're all coming from different styles of play completely, because there's all kinds of styles of play in college itself. And not only that, but the MLS teams want you to play a certain way. So guys are trying to do their own thing, and it's honestly can be really tough if you're not in the right situation. Like, for example, I went to San Jose, and I'm a 9, right? So I need service, and our midfield really struggled. So like I was defending most of the game, didn't really get to show what I could do. But I mean, that's all part of learning. It's all part of it. So, but yeah, the combines are tough, to be honest. But
I can imagine, and then talk to us about draft day. So what is are you in the house? Is there an event? Is there a like how does that? Because I actually attended the draft many years ago, and it was
yeah, it's changed.
yeah,
Yeah,
strange
so
significantly. Yeah.
there used to be a venue, I know, and then last year that was on Apple TV, I think they televised it, and this year they didn't even stream it. Like, it was just the MLS soccer page, just refreshing it every couple minutes. Um,
Do you
but
get a
no,
phone call before to say, "Listen, hi, Arik, it's," or you just the news on the US soccer, the MLS page? Is that when you kind of
it's
find?
actually the way I found out. It's actually funny. So, well, I mean, I had calls with teams before the draft, like in days leading up, like just calls with the teams, just trying to get to know me, and that, and then my agent had told me a few different teams that were potentially interested, and so when it got to those guys on the draft day, I was like a little bit jittery. But the way I found out, actually, I kept refreshing and refreshing the page, but I was trying not to constantly look at it, so I kind of put it away, and I went on Instagram, and I got a follow request from Montreal, and I started freaking out, and that's really how I found out, because they posted me right away, and then a couple minutes later, or actually after the draft was over, they called me, and yeah, so
And then obviously, so you think of from California to Montreal, that's a bit
yeah,
of a camel trek, even in
yeah.
terms of like distance and climate and stuff. And then how does it come around that you think you're packing your bags and going to Montreal, and then you kind of pivot, and it's an about turn, which is obviously
Yeah.
Colorado. How does that come around?
Um, so it was kind of Colorado had expressed a lot of interest, and I think that they kind of felt like they missed out in the draft when Montreal picked me. That's what they told my agent, at least. So they were my agent had mentioned that they were thinking about trading for me, and then I actually started preseason with Montreal. I spent 2 weeks there, and then Montreal's a kind of a unique club in the MLS, because um, they're more of a European setup club.
Yeah.
They also don't have a second team as well. And a lot of drafted guys will bounce back and forth between first and second team, but you don't really have that luxury at Montreal. And they'd also just signed 2 strikers who were established, older guys, 28, 29, and so it was always going to be a tough situation. And then, yeah, my agent kind of told me that Colorado were interested, and it was boom, everything just happened fast. Literally, I was training my last training session was Friday with Montreal, and I was on a plane um, to Denver on Sunday. So just like that, and then I started training Monday, and this week I've been with the Rapids. So yeah, everything happened quick.
And then just the kind of, I guess, just the kind of final thing on that. How have you found the jump in level then from going to Division 1 to obviously doing 2 weeks at Montreal, and then
Yeah.
now obviously it's still early days in terms of your time at the Rapids, but how have you found that, and has been any ways that you've kind of adapted?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big level jump for sure from college to first team MLS football. It's a big jump, which is why I think a lot of guys, bounce between second and first team because it's a big jump, and a lot of times, you need the transition of second team just to kind of adjust to the demands of the pro environment and adjust to the level really. So, a year playing MLS Next Pro is, you know, good for a lot of guys' development. But I think college wise, the top college teams could compete at MLS Next Pro level maybe. But I mean, from the Next Pro to the MLS First Team Football, it's a big jump. Those are guys that are, especially with the growth of the MLS now.
Sure.
You've got all kinds of top players. So yeah, it's tough.
No, I can imagine. So we do have some questions here, and then I'll kind of ask them. Then I've got a kind of quick fire couple of questions for you at the end here. So
So
some of the questions from the guys in Spain is this is a brilliant one. So what do you do during the low moments to motivate yourself and keep going and working hard?
that's a great question. I've struggled with it, especially um, jumping to different environments. There's times where I feel very lonely or isolated because I'm in a new environment, don't know anyone. But what keeps me going is one, my family. Um, my family's been super important in my journey. They always push me. Personally, I got introduced to journaling when I was in Spain, and that's been something that's really helpful for me. Just able to decompress every day. Um, what else keeps me going? I think just believing in yourself, and you always have to have a why. Like, why do I play football? Why do I do this? Why do I want to be the best at what I do? And if you can establish that, I think you can always come back to that to keep going and keep pushing and keep working hard.
No, I really like the journaling stuff. I think that's really important. And again, because obviously as a professional footballer already, in 2 weeks you've encountered some uncertainty, and I think that's really impressive. Here's here's a, here's an interesting one. What is an underrated habit as a footballer? So it might be something that you've encountered. It might be something that you believe yourself.
I think prehab, prepping your body before training is one of the most important things. Just taking care of your body in general is half the battle for staying healthy. If you want to be a footballer, your job is to perform every day, and that requires your body. Your body is your tool. So I think taking care of your body, like I said, journaling as well, because the mental side of the game is just as important. Honestly, probably more important. I think the margins get smaller the higher level you get in terms of quality player, uh, but the margins increase, I think, mentally. So
By the way, you know what I love about that, Arik, is you're not talked about anything to do with like on the field or tactics or anything. What guys, so important. I think that's an unbelievable message. Is the fact that we kind of left that open and it was interesting, but not once did Arik speak about passing the ball, receiving or first touch or anything. It was all about things that you can I actually think you can control a little bit more as well. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? And your commitment. So I think that's an unbelievable answer. Thank you for that. This is quite an open one, and I think you've kind of covered it already. But how to attract opportunities. You spoke about somebody always watching. How did you take that mentality into things? Because obviously opportunities aren't given. You know, how did you maybe use that somebody's always watching type idea and install that in your game?
Yeah, my dad actually used to preach that to me from when I was 9, 10 years old. You know, you never know who is watching, whether you're playing futsal at a random indoor place or at the park versus, you know, obviously, you know, playing in a big stage game, you know, the biggest game of your career. There's always someone watching, you know. So I think having the mentality of trying to perform at your best every single time you step on the field is the way to attract opportunities, really.
See, when you say it like that, and when you think about it, pretty simple, huh?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
guys, it's just about doing your best, making sure that when you get that, when there is that, when opportunity arises, that you're ready to take it. I think, and I think it
yeah.
can come in many different ways. Um,
Yeah, I think I can actually add to that.
yep.
When I got recruited to come back to college, when I was at SIA, I was on the bench for almost the whole season. Um, they had just signed a striker coming from Real Madrid B, so you know I was on the bench the whole season, and then I got that Villarreal game was my second start of the season and performed really well. And yeah, so you just have to take your opportunities when they come and keep pushing every day, whether you're on the bench, starting. You know, every time you step on the field, it's an opportunity to impress and perform.
And I think obviously your mindset, you talk quite a lot about the journal and the mindset, it's been ready for when those opportunities come, I think, as well. Do you know, like, you obviously disappointed you're not playing, Arik. You could have been, you know, kind of going through the motions a little bit, but when you get your opportunity, you're ready to go and you go hard. So, um, some some of the other ones you kind of covered this, but you know, obviously you talked about what made you take a gap year. It sounds like that was the kind of just the circumstances of the COVID and the opportunity to
Yeah,
play.
it was a bit unique. It was kind of just yeah the circumstances of it all with COVID and then things going well at IDA. I decided to just take that gap year and focus on football for a bit. But yeah, everyone has a unique situation when it comes to a gap year. I know some guys take a gap year after high school to try and get better opportunities. So there's all different reasons to take a gap year.
Um, how did you know? We might just think about one or two things here, but how did IDA help you grow as a person and a player?
Um, as a player, I think just the environment where you're. I mean, you guys are still living at Mas Camarena, I assume. So that place is a great place. You know, you always have access to a pitch. You always have access to the gym, so you can always work on your game and get better. So I think that's why, as a player, I developed so much there. I was constantly on the field with some of the other guys.
On that, Arik, what areas is there any particular areas that you thought you really developed during that year?
Um, during my time at IDA, I think technically I just got better. Technically, just working every day constantly. You know, training as much as I was. I was on the field every day with, you know, after training with guys like, I mean, I'm sure you guys know Jeremy De Leon at Real Madrid now. We were on the field every single day, just getting extra touches and just, you know, touching the ball is the one way to just develop constantly. Um,
No.
I think as a person, the coaching staff there is it's full of great people and they always push me to be a better player, yes, but always push me to be a better person and develop in all of my life aspects. So yeah.
Perfect. Pedro's actually asked the question. He says he knows it wasn't always that easy, your experience here in Spain, in terms of performance or minutes playing. How did you have those moments and what was a way to overcome them?
Um, I think kind of like I said earlier, you just really have to go back to why always, why do you do this? Why are you playing football? Why? Because when it gets tough, when you're sitting on the bench, Pedro knows that there were times where I was not playing at Levi and at CS, so it got tough at times. Especially when you're young and you just want to play. Um, so I think, yeah, just you have to have the right mindset at all times. That's the key to staying focused.
Yeah, we've spoken quite a lot about what was your why.
I have a few different. I actually have a list. I have a few different things. One's my family. How much my family has put into me playing this game.
Yep.
Secondly, just my love for the game. I love football. That's one of my biggest whys, because I've played it since I was 3 years old. I don't know anything else. Yeah. So I want to make my family proud. I want to do what I love, make a living doing what I love. I have some other that are more specific and personal, but
Obviously they'll have changed, but has some of them been constants?
yeah, the constant has always been doing it for my family, my love for the game, and trying to always be the best version of myself. It's almost like I'm trying to prove it to myself every day. So yeah.
No, I think it's just such a powerful message. And guys on the call, I think if you don't know your why, then take some time to reflect and actually, pick out your why and why
Yeah,
you do
absolutely.
things. And as Arik talked about that journaling, actually write them down, have them close to you, and make sure you're when you're in maybe times of self-doubt or tough times, you can reflect back. So Arik, just to finish off, I've got some quick fire questions for you. You don't have
Sure.
to think. You don't. Well, you shouldn't have to think, but and you don't really have to go into any detail. You can just quickly go. So I've got five. So what team do you support?
Arsenal through and through.
Who's your favourite player?
Thierry Henry.
By the way, great answer. Great. Yep, great answer. Which is unfortunate because he was actually head coach at Montreal.
Yeah, I know. I talked
That'd
to
have
some of the guys about it as well. Yeah.
that'd have been perfect. Who's your hero?
Roger Federer.
I like it. Yeah. Big Federer fan. Why? Just interesting. Why he's not a football guy? Like why?
Um, it's kind of Thierry Henry, but I think my hero is Roger Federer, because not only is he, in my opinion, the greatest tennis player, but also just the class that he's taken through everything, and just as a person, I think he's always been himself, and yeah, that's
By
all.
the way, I'm a big fan as well. Yeah. Obviously. What's the one thing you miss in Spain?
Oh,
There's a
paella,
couple, but
paella for sure.
me and Pedro were having this discussion last week. Yeah, so I'm not sure there's any good paella in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then this is the $1 million question, right? Who's your favourite, Ivan or Jordi? I'm only, I'm only joking. You don't have to answer that at all. You don't have to answer that. I just thought I'd throw that one in. No, but listen, this has been unbelievable, and I think one of the reasons why we appreciate you coming on the call, Arik, is that you've been in the same place as these guys, and these guys want to be in the same place that you are right now. Some of them want to progress in their college and get a degree. Some of them want to use ID as a platform to go and play professional soccer. And I think the fact that you've done all those things and you're such a fantastic ambassador for what we believe in our program, and I think I speak for everybody on behalf of IDA. We love watching your journey. We've followed the college piece, we followed the MLS draft piece, and we look forward to seeing where you go next and supporting you in the journey, because I think I speak for everybody when I say how proud we are of your journey today, and I know that some of the staff are still here, some have moved on, and I think that, you know, we're really, really proud of where you've been in the role that hopefully IDA's played. I see right now, obviously Pedro's on the call, George is on the call, you know what I mean? So I know that, you know, how much these guys have certainly helped you, and you've probably helped them. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think on just behalf of everybody, thank you. Thanks for being a fantastic ambassador for our programme. Thank you for coming on and giving your time back. Because, as I said, once upon a time, you were sitting where these guys were, listening to people thinking, you know
Sitting
what I mean?
right there in those chairs, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be me. You know, that's my aim. And, you know, some of your messages are unbelievable. And I think it's you know, you're a fantastic young man, and we wish you every success. And please keep in touch, and we'll be in touch as well. And yeah, thanks for giving up your time. Enjoy
Thank you,
Colorado.
guys.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's cold.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's definitely cold. It hasn't been too bad here though. It's been sunny, so yeah, not too bad. But yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm always happy to give back. So
brilliant. Okay, so again, Arik, thank you very much. And we'll let you head back to training. And for the guys that jumped on the call, please take heed of some of these little nuggets of advice, because they will definitely help you. So, all right. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
bye, guys.